Hi Pre-Calc. This lesson is going to deal with solving equations algebraically. Okay, the first thing we have to mention, equations are the only things that can actually get solved. Okay, and equations have equal signs. If you don't have an equal sign, you're just an expression. Okay, and to solve means that you're going to find the value of the variable. You find the value of the variable. What does the variable equal? Okay, so for example, a lot of times it's going to be x equals. All right, you have to have an equation in order to solve. All right, this first one right here says solve. Okay, and I'm noticing that there's values outside of the parentheses. Okay, and so the first thing that comes to mind is we need to distribute. Okay, so you might have an equation that has some distributing necessary. I'm going to distribute the 3 into those parentheses and distribute the 5 there. The left side of the equation is 3x minus 6. The right side of the equation is 5x minus 5. All right, now I notice that there's variables on both sides. Okay, and what I want to do is collect them on one side. We could subtract 3x, or we could subtract 5x. I like to not make negatives, so I'm going to subtract 3x from the left. All right, now a lot of you are only going to write this one time, and that's not legal. What you do to the left side, you must do to the right side. If you're going to write it once, you have to write it twice. All right, what does that leave us with? These are going to cancel out, and we're going to have 2 x's on the right. I'm going to do the next step in the same line. Okay, since x's are on the right, I'm going to eliminate the numbers over here. I'm going to add 5 to the right side. And what you do to the right side, you must do to the left side. Okay, I don't want to see people writing it on just one side. You have to write it twice. Okay, some people say, well, I do this step in my head. Well, you can't write it once without writing it again. It's just not legal. This makes -1. Okay, now we have to get x alone. So the last step would be to divide both sides by 2. Okay, and it's fine if the variable is alone on the right. We can switch it around if you like. And x is equal to -1/2. Okay, I'm going to show you another technique. Let's just write this problem down again. Here's another way you could do it. It's the same kind of work. Okay, and this is more of a switch sides thing. Okay, so what some people are going to do is they're going to collect all the x's on the right. I'm going to switch sides and bring this 3x over here. So we have 5x already. And if we switch sides and you move it to the other side of the equal sign, he needs to change signs and become a -3x. So this technique is switch sides. Switch sides. Then you have to switch the signs. Switch the signs. Positives become negatives. Okay. Over here on the left, we already have -6. Let's bring this -5 to the left. If we switch sides, he's going to become a +5. Okay. Numbers are -1. The variables are 2x. You see how we're getting the same exact answer. Divide both sides by 2. It's the same. Okay, so it's just another technique, another way to write things. Sometimes people like this because they only have to write it once versus writing it twice. Okay, let's take a look at another kind of an equation. Okay, I know a lot of people, when they look at this, they say, oh, we don't like fractions. Okay, neither do I. So here are the techniques. Here's the steps that you're going to do to eliminate the fractions. Okay, so step 1, okay, we're going to multiply all the terms, okay, by the common denominator. Okay, so the common denominator between 3 and 2 is 6. But we have to multiply all the terms. So I'm going to put parentheses. Here's the first term. He is going to get multiplied by 6. This second term right here, he is going to get multiplied by 6. Don't forget to do the right side. Okay, multiply him by 6. Now we don't actually multiply by 6. Okay, why did I pick 6? Okay, because 6 can cancel with the 3. The 6 can cancel with the 3, cancel them out, and that makes a 2. All right, does 6 cancel with 2? Yes, 6 cancels with 2, makes a 3. Okay, all my denominators got canceled. So step 2 is to cancel. I'm going to write this in capitals. Okay, it's the most important step. All right, is that always going to happen where both the denominators get canceled out? Of course that's going to happen. You picked 6 because it was the common denominator. All the denominators better cancel. Otherwise, you didn't pick the common denominator. Okay, so now what do we have here? Okay, what do we have here? We have a 2, and then we have the quantity x plus 7. We don't have a denominator anymore. Here we actually have a 3 and the quantity x minus 6. Now over here, that's a number and a number, so of course we're just going to multiply those. There's no denominator. Okay, so don't go distributing in a 6. We're going to cancel that out. All right, from here on out, it's pretty simple. We see parentheses, so the directions are going to be to distribute. Okay, distribute the small number. Distribute the small number, not the 6. Okay, distribute the 2, distribute the 3. Numbers, maybe. 2x plus 14 equals 3x minus, plus equals negative 24. Okay, at this point, we're going to add like terms. Step 4 is just going to be to solve as usual. Okay, go ahead and solve this and tell me what you get. Okay, yada, yada, yada. I hope you got x equals negative 4. Okay, next one. How do you solve algebraically? Okay, solve algebraically when there's a radical. Okay, does anyone know what technique we're going to use here? When you see a square root, the inverse of square root, okay, we're going to square both sides. If you see a square root, the inverse would be to square. So you put parentheses around the left side and you square it. Okay? And then you put parentheses around this right side and you square it. Now if this happened to be x minus 1, it would look like this. You put parentheses, square both sides, okay, and use parentheses. Let's just make sure everyone highlights both sides, square both sides. So a square root and a square cancel, and then all you have left, okay, is that quantity. Over here we've got 16, and x is just equal to positive 15. Okay. If you happen to see a problem that had a cubed root, if you have a cubed root, okay, does anyone know how you would cancel something like this? Let's just make this be an equation here. Give it a 2. How do you cancel a cubed root? You cube both sides. You cube it and you cube it. A cube power cancels with the cube root power, and then we just get the expression inside. And x would equal to 7. Okay. Cube roots cancel with cubing. Square roots cancel with squaring. All right, last one here. Okay, how do you solve this algebraically? Okay, I'm going to put a note here. When you see something like this, okay, this means quantity squared. I need you to write 2 quantities. There's a very common mistake that happens and people don't, okay? But if you write this quantity 2 times, a lot of times the mistake will not happen and people will have a higher chance of getting it correct. Okay, oh, I see what I have to do. Okay, I have to FOIL this out. So if I do firsts, if I do outers and inners together, minus x, that's minus 2x plus 1. Okay, see if you can start doing your outers and your inners at the same time. Over here, let's do the same thing. Okay, it's going to be x squared. What do the outers and the inners make when you combine them? Yeah, it's going to make plus x minus 6. Okay, so I'm thinking we're going to get a quadratic. All right, let's go ahead and combine like terms. Let's subtract x squared from the right and from, oh, look what's happening there. They're both canceling out. It's not a quadratic, it's just a linear. Okay, I'm going to combine my x's on the left, subtract x, subtract x. That's going to make negative 3x on the left-hand side. Let's go ahead and subtract 1 from both sides. That makes negative 7. Divide both sides by negative 3. A negative divided by negative makes a positive. Okay, so what are the things that we went over today? Okay, can you solve a linear equation? Okay, that means your answer is x equals. Make sure what you do to one side, right here, you show on the other side. Okay, show your steps. I can solve an equation by multiplying by the common denominator. The most important step here, okay, the most important step is to cancel, then multiply. Okay, the reason you're picking common denominator is it's going to cancel out and get rid of the denominators. Okay, and finally, I can solve by squaring or square rooting both sides. Or we could even say cubing or cube rooting both sides, because we did that as well. Great job.